Hi, I'm Dr. Kurt Wohler for Sunrise Functional Medicine. The title of this video is Organic Acids Test. Essentially, what is the organic acids test? Here is the video disclaimer, understanding that the information within this video is for educational purposes only. So the organic acid test is actually it's a comprehensive profile. You could almost make the case that it's a series of individual tests brought together in a collective fashion to be able to view different types of metabolic imbalances. Some of those could be linked to fungal toxins, bacterial toxins, mitochondrial imbalances, nutrient deficiencies. So it's a very important test to not only perform in clinical practice, but also for a wide variety of health disorders. So technically, the organic acid test is a urine profile that evaluates for various markers across different categories. So as I mentioned, fungus, that could be candida, bacteria, oxalate, mitochondrial problems, nutrient imbalances, neurotransmitter metabolites indicating imbalances, and then what are called inborn errors of metabolism, which are rare genetic conditions that typically happen in children. So the OAT, what's called, OAT for short, organic acid test, does not diagnose an illness per se or specifically a disease based on its values, but instead provides evidence that certain conditions may be existing. So again, it takes a skilled practitioner to really learn how to interpret the organic acid test. But if you're an individual who's looking to assess either yourself or a loved one for underlying imbalances, the organic acid test is very important to have done. So here is a screenshot of the Mosaic Diagnostics organic acid test. This is page 1. This is looking at yeast and fungal markers specifically. We can see in this particular individual, there's a number of elevated markers. Arabinose, which is marker 7, is something that's linked to candida overgrowth. Carboxycitric, number 8, is linked to yeast overgrowth in the digestive tract. And then the other markers of 2, 4, 5, 6, and 9 are actually linked to colonization from Aspergillus and Fusarium mold, respectively. Now, typically those can come from environmental factors, environmental exposures, but Fusarium, for example, can also come from contaminated food. This is the bottom section of the organic acid test on page 1 that looks at bacterial markers, and then the very problematic toxic compounds of the Clostridia bacterial markers 15, 16, and 17. Seeing all three of those elevated is quite significant. Number 16, the HPHPA being the most common. And the problem with these markers from the Clostridia is they can actually interfere with brain and nervous system function. So page 3 of the organic acid test from Mosaic Diagnostics looks at high levels of oxalic acid, which we can see in this particular individual, upwards of almost 2,300, which is very high. High pyruvic, which can occur from certain B vitamin deficiencies like thiamine. High succinic, fumaric, malic, citric, all indicating some type of mitochondrial problem. So sometimes that can come about because of nutritional deficiencies, sometimes because of fungal or bacterial or other types of environmental compounds. And then the neurotransmitter metabolite section, we see in this individual very high levels of homovanillic acid, which is a dopamine metabolite. In autistic individuals, for example, this sometimes can contribute to behavioral problems. It's also been linked in very high levels to schizophrenia or psychosis, or just, irritability, difficulty concentrating, poor sleep can be sort of other manifestations. But the bottom line is that this is an often occurrence when we have some of those Clostridia bacterial markers elevated. So that's not always the sole case for elevations of homovanillic acid or marker 36, which is called DOPAC, but that can be a leading cause if those Clostridia markers are elevated. So there are other sections on the organic acid test that evaluate for fatty acid metabolism problems. There's various markers that look at deficiencies of vitamin C, CoQ10, which is a important nutrient within the mitochondria, B vitamins. And so to understand the organic acid test and the utility of it, it's important really for anybody with a known or suspected chronic health condition. That could be autoimmune, autism, chronic fatigue, metabolic, some type of neurological problem, various mental health conditions. The organic acid test is a very important test to have done. It can also complement information picked up from a comprehensive digestive stool analysis. So sometimes those two tests go together. A lot of times, based on information from the organic acid test, we'll many times do environmental chemical testing, perhaps heavy metals, and even mold toxin testing called mycotoxins. And then based on the information provided from the goat, more specific implementation of supplements, other interventions can be performed. So for more information about our consulting practice and our use of the organic acid test and other functional integrated medicine testing, you can go to mysunrisecenter.com. You can also email us at scmedicalcenter@gmail.com. You see our phone number there, 951-461-4800. So again, I'm Dr. Kurt Wohler for Sunrise Functional Medicine. Thank you.